So this lesson we're going to be updating the part of the selected element. So updating the first line, first letter, adding in content after and before the element selection. And this is all going to be done with pseudo elements, where we're using the 2 colons in order to indicate the pseudo element and apply styles to part of the element that has been selected. Pseudo elements are allowed us to create and select specific parts of an element. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a selection of the page content. So we've got a number of page elements that we've already got. So I'm going to select the one with an ID of 1, and then we're going to apply a pseudo element to that. So selecting the element with the ID of 1, and I'll update the font size of the element. So make the font size relatively big. We can also update the image size. This image is rather big, so let's update the width of the image to 100 pixels, so it's a whole lot smaller. So now let's apply a pseudo element. So if we want to apply it to the first line, we can specify that within 1, and this is using the 2 colons that allows us to indicate the pseudo. So selecting the first line, and let's update the first line and add in a red color to the first line. So that's going to be to the first line of the content. So as the line shrinks, it's still only getting applied to the first line. So this is an interesting way that you can apply different effects to parts of the element. Let's update the background color, and we'll set the background color to be black. The color of the font, we'll set that all to be white, and I'll set that as beige. Let's update, and we'll make a selection of the first letter within that element. So selecting the first letter, and I'll update the font size of the first letter. So we'll make that 4 EM. So that's a way that you can update the first letter, make it really large. You can also set content after the selection of the element. So you can select the element, and using after allows you to add content after the element that you've selected. And we can specify the content and adding in the content of hello world. So there's the content being added in. I know it's a little bit hard to see, so let's update the color to be blue for the entire background. So there's the content that's set after within the 1, and if you go to inspect the page content of the element, there's the after, and we don't see the hello world being written, as that's being done with the styling. So whatever is in that place is going to be what the content is that got added. You can also do a before as well, so that will place the content before. So that actually added it into the first line and updated the content, so applying even the first letter to that first part of the page content. So pseudo elements allow you to select part of the element and make updates to it. And they are limited to the different properties that can be applied. So go ahead and try it out to get more familiar with what you can do with pseudo elements.